Hello, welcome back here into Caden's Weather Center. In this video, we're going to continue to pay attention here to a severe weather threat that is continuing in 3 different parts of the country today, as well as paying attention here to the tropics, as we have Major Hurricane Gabrielle that is going to continue to race off to the northeast here in the Atlantic. But we have 2 other areas of interest to pay attention to, one possibly impacting the east coast here of the United States. We're going to dig deeper into that and dig deeper into the models in this video, but make sure, if you do enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and let's hop right into the video. So welcome back. Today is September 22nd, 2025. Continuing to pay attention to, 3 different areas here of severe weather, possibly with the tornado threat as well as large hail and gusty winds in some areas. We're going to dig deeper into that here in this video. But let's take a look at currently what's going on around the United States. Well, we're currently looking at some pretty big rainfall kind of continuing on over here from the Ohio northern part all the way from Cleveland down over here into parts of Arkansas and Tennessee, Memphis area. You guys are getting some heavy rain this afternoon as well, but also continuing to pay attention to some snowfall and also some possibility here for some rain continuing on in Wyoming and Montana. And then a little bit of moisture continuing to move up over here from the Pacific Ocean going into parts of Southern California, as well as even into central and even parts of northern New Mexico. Taking a look here at the satellite picture here across the United States, what are we looking at? Well, we did see some thunderstorms continuing on over here in parts of Wisconsin earlier this morning. That has continued to move off to the east here and has really, the convection has started to really weaken down there. There's obviously our severe weather threat that we're going to be seeing. That's one severe weather threat, and that main area for severe weather threat is going to be in the Ohio and Kentucky general area here, which we'll talk about here pretty shortly. But other than that, fairly quiet in some parts of the United States here, but that's going to change, especially here for the central part of the United States. Now, taking a look at our severe weather threat today, we're currently looking at 3 different areas here. We can see a slight weather risk that's going to continue on here in parts of eastern Nebraska going into central and western Iowa. We also have a slight weather risk continuing on over here in parts of northern and northern Oklahoma going into central and southern Kansas. That's something to continue to pay attention to, but also we have this general area as well with a slight weather risk continuing on for parts of central eastern Ohio, continuing down into parts of eastern Kentucky. So something to continue to pay attention to with that. Now, heading into tomorrow's severe weather threat, a little bit more localized here, down here to the south. Now, that's going to be a pretty big possibility for some tornadoes as we head into tomorrow. So something could be something that we need to pay attention to, stretching from Arkansas into parts of Oklahoma and even into parts of northern Texas. But still, even if you're in that marginal risk stretching from Kentucky into Texas, you definitely could still be paying attention to some tornadoes and times at that with some gusty winds and hail as well. Taking a look at the tornado threat for today, 2% chance here in these 2 areas right here. Nothing for the Ohio and Kentucky region, but our main 2% areas for tornadoes are going to be in this Oklahoma, Kansas region here and Nebraska and Iowa. Now, obviously, that is a very low chance, but still can't rule out a tornado warning or 2 in that general area. Now, the wind threat is going to be one of the bigger concerns here for that Ohio and Kentucky severe weather threat today, but also is going to be in these general 2 areas right down here in the Oklahoma, Kansas, as well as Iowa and Nebraska. We're going to continue to pay attention to that, but the hail risk is going to be pretty significant here in parts of southeastern Nebraska here, heading into even parts of northern Oklahoma and the most southern part here of Kansas. So that's going to be our biggest threat for the severe weather risk today, will be the hail risk for today. Now, tomorrow will be the tornado risk for that general area. Now, let's take a look here at the future radar. We can obviously see over here in the next couple of hours, we're going to be seeing some of those storms starting to ramp up over here in parts of eastern Kentucky, heading up into Columbus, Ohio, and that will eventually move its way off to the east here. And we're going to see eventually these storms kind of make their way into parts of West Virginia and maybe even head into western Virginia there. But really, you see a lot of some thunderstorms also continuing to go kind of into the central part here of Tennessee. So something to continue to pay attention to, as well as some storms continuing to move through the Penn State region as well. Taking a look here at the central part of the United States, well, we're going to be seeing some of that severe weather kind of obviously move inwards here as we head into the overnight hours. I think that's when we're going to really start to see some of that severe weather. And there's a general area right there that we're going to be seeing parts of Kansas and Nebraska. We're going to be seeing some pretty isolated thunderstorms as we head into the overnight hours. And then really in our general area here of Iowa and even into Nebraska, that will be even later on into early tomorrow. So around 3, 4 a.m., you guys could be anticipating some big storms there, kind of of just really starting to ramp up right there as we get into the overnight hours for Lincoln, Nebraska, and will eventually make its way off to the east and kind of just stay there and bring it into Des Moines as well. Taking a look at some snowfall continuing on over here in parts of Wyoming and Montana, stretching all the way down here into parts of Colorado. That's kind of more on the higher elevation, so no big impacts for anyone right now from that. Let's take a look at the tropics side. What are we currently looking at here with the tropics? Well, we can clearly see there's Hurricane Gabrielle looking very impressive as, you know, the recording of this video. That's going to eventually make its turn off to the northeast here. We're going to see that and possibly impact parts of Europe. So something to kind of pay attention to. We have two tropical waves kind of to pay attention to in this general area. We're going to be seeing some interesting possibility here for these systems kind of getting pulled off to the north. But we do have an area of interest kind of sitting in this general region right here that could possibly impact parts of Carolinas here that we've been seeing with some of the models. And if you take a look right now here from the National Hurricane Center, now up to a moderate risk chance here. This does go through Puerto Rico and parts of the Dominican Republic here, as well as the northern Leeward Islands. So definitely some, regardless of development, we could be seeing some rainfall in that potential area. This red one out here, no invest yet, but this red one will kind of more just kind of follow Gabrielle's track there. This one, though, we could definitely possibly see a little bit more closer to home here, and some of those models have brought into a possible small end tropical storm here into the Outer Banks of North Carolina, so something to continue to pay attention to. But first, let's take a look at Gabrielle. What are we looking at here with Gabrielle? Not too much going on right now. 120 mile an hour Category 3 hurricane, expected to strengthen maybe slightly more here, kind of going through an eye wall replacement cycle, I would say, at this time. But you kind of can see a lot of that convection in the eye wall really strong on the southern part of the storm here as it continues to kind of make that jog up here to the northeast. So something to continue to pay attention to, but obviously good thing is there's no impact to land. Now, taking a look here at the spaghetti models, we obviously see it's kind of in the central part here of the Atlantic. We're going to see it eventually make that northeast turn there, but then you really start to see some of those models do bring it over here into parts of Europe, kind of bring it down. That could bring the possibility for some heavy rainfall here into parts of Europe as well. So we're going to kind of pay attention to that very, very closely there with the rainfall threat. Taking a look here at the GFS model of the Atlantic, what can we currently see right now? Well, we can obviously see there's Gabrielle expected to weaken from here on out, according to the GFS, make that turn. But really keep an eye on these two general areas right here as they eventually make their way off to the west here. We're going to kind of pay attention to that. Then you kind of see it continue to move off to the east here with that with Gabrielle kind of squeezing in between two high pressures according to the GFS. Now this one tropical area right here kind of gets absorbed here by the GFS, kind of getting absorbed with the other tropical wave that we're kind of seeing, and that possibly brings up a maybe small end Category 1 hurricane into the east coast here of North Carolina. We kind of can see that, so that could bring possibility for some rainfall here into parts of North Carolina, even into parts of South Carolina as it kind of hugs the coast and really starts to impact the Outer Banks. That could be something to kind of pay attention to. Now, the GFS also does pick up on another system behind that, possibly in the Atlantic, and then as well as something kind of forming here in the Caribbean. But I would say those two storms are very far out right now, and nothing has been marked by the National Hurricane Center from the Caribbean. Taking a look at the European model, what can we see with that? Gabrielle obviously going to continue to move off to the east there, but then we have a possibility, and the Euro is actually bringing up two possible systems. So watch that right there and watch this one. We could be seeing two tropical systems here. Obviously, the GFS or the Euro is bringing the eastern tropical wave a little bit more stronger than the western one compared to what the GFS is saying. So still right now, we're a little too far out to exactly know what to expect. Now, taking a look here at the Euro ensembles, what are we looking at here for the next 15 days? Well, we can obviously see Gabrielle. We know where Gabrielle is going, but our big areas of systems here, we have, you know, kind of a general area of kind of going probably more, a little bit more of a westward track, could possibly impact Bermuda with that tropical wave that's more on the eastern side there. But the other one that's kind of more on the westward side doesn't have as much favorability here, according to the Euro, doesn't have that best possibility of forming. Now, taking a look at the GFS ensembles, a little bit more of a different scenario. The GFS has been pretty consistent on this westward storm forming and kind of getting eventually pulled up to the north here, hugging the east coast. That could bring the Carolinas once again in play with that. Taking a look at the probabilities here by the European model, we can obviously see the European favors the eastern side right here. You can clearly see pretty good chances a possibility of a tropical depression forms from the European model, and then eventually possibly good chances it could possibly impact Bermuda there. And then we're also seeing some, impacts, or, possible tropical system that could come off of Africa and get pulled to the north, as well as some chances that continue on over here in the central Atlantic and the Caribbean. But obviously right now those are, as well, too far out. Taking a look right now here currently at the forecast temperatures here. This is for today. We can see some of those temperatures, really nice temperatures continuing on over here in parts of the, mountain region over here in parts of the Wyoming, Colorado here, going up into Montana. Really hot weather continuing on over here down for the southeast, stretching all the way from North Carolina down southward here. 100 degrees here in parts of central Texas, as well as 90s continuing on over here in the state of Florida. That's going to go down maybe slightly, or that's kind of just going to, the temperatures are going to kind of rise here for the east coast here of the United States, stretching all the way up here from Washington, D.C., going through Virginia, all the way down here into Florida and even into Texas. We're going to be seeing those hotter temperatures really starting to ramp up there. Low temperatures, whole different scenario here. Really cold temperatures continuing on over here for the western part of the United States. So starting to get into that type of season here. We're seeing the Montana region going into parts of Wyoming and Colorado, getting up into the upper 20s here for temperatures there. And then obviously we're seeing a lot of those 70s and maybe even into mid 60s for these temperatures down here in the southeast. We're seeing a cold front that's going to be moving down to the south. That's going to bring some of those cooler temperatures here that we can clearly see into parts of, even into Missouri, Oklahoma, even into Iowa as well. We're going to be seeing those temperatures getting into about the mid 50s, and then we'll start to eventually warm up as we head into later this week as well. But other than that, not too much going on currently right now. This is obviously the future forecast here, future radar here for the United States here as we head in throughout, the next couple of hours today, heading into tomorrow morning. You can see, pay attention to that severe weather risk that's continuing on through the Ohio Valley, continuing to move. It will eventually move its way into West Virginia and even into eastern Kentucky as well. And then really our severe weather risk continuing on in parts of Kansas. Some pretty big thunderstorms could form there, as well as eastern Nebraska and parts of western Iowa. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And if you also do have any questions about any weather around the United States, make sure to leave it down in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer you guys to the best I possibly can. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure to follow my X page down in the description for more frequent updates here on the weather, the tropics, and now especially as we're starting to head into the winter season, winter storms. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, and bye-bye.